Amazing. Welcome to the call, guys. So obviously we're going to go through a bit of value. We've got some special announcements, and then at the end, when we stop the recording, yeah, we'll do a little private Q&A. All right, for all the members. But guys, so yeah, welcome to the call. First of all, I do want to, I want to share. I want to take a moment and just express my gratitude. Okay, for you all on the line right now. First of all, number one, for being committed to your own development, right? Your own development. Um, I think you should all give yourself a pat on the back for that, right? Number one. And second, also as well, for your commitment, because, it's very obvious that I've had family expansion, I've had business expansion, right? So my focus has been in other areas. Just wanted to be transparent, but I just wanted to say that obviously, you know, loyalty is something which I don't take for granted, and the members club is always going to be like my what's that thing? What's the phrase for it? Yeah, my baby, but there's something else. I don't know. My baby. Something which I'm super, super like just passionate about. All right. I'm kind of I've got a soft spot for everyone inside the members club. All right. So obviously, I was speaking to my wife last night, and she's like been really studying personal development, and she's obviously receiving messages from people all the time. So she's decided to do a weekly call for the members as well as this one. Okay, it's going to be on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. UK time. I understand that's super early for the people in America, but they are going to be recorded as well inside the members club. And so she's going to be breaking down. The first one's going to be this Saturday at 10 a.m. She'll be breaking down like Charlie's very big into like personal development and reading. So she's going to more than likely tell you all to like go out there and get a certain book, and you can all jump on. Yeah, Charlie's very tapped in, um, extremely. So, sorry, that's that announcement. I'm super, super thirsty, guys. I got a new coach, and I get back from these sessions. I have to like just pause for like 30 minutes, just pause my life. So that's coming. That's going to be amazing. We're super excited about that. That I'm going to leave Charlie to those calls. They're going to be her calls. So, this is great, a great thing. We're going to get a real nice, attractive fly made for it. There's going to be chance for the ladies, especially. Obviously, the ladies are going to resonate with that a lot. The ladies to like ask questions, and really, just get involved, man, and get involved and shoot. She'll more than likely, ask you questions, get you nice and personal. Because obviously, my wife's mentored by Holton Buggs' wife, Erlene Buggs, as well. So they have some crazy conversations. Sometimes I walk in, I'm like, what is going on in here? So I just walk out immediately. Um, but they're going to be those sort of conversations. I'm not even too sure if that part there is going to be a value part where that'll probably be recorded. But then obviously once it gets into the nitty gritty things, like ladies, you can really like just be honest because we've realized that as a lady into personal development, it's hard to. There's not many outlets. There's not many people that you feel like you can speak to, right? And it's quite lonely, right? Because you struggle to go with your family because you're trying to inspire them. Next thing you go in there, 1 minute you're like, "Hey man, you should be positive." The next minute you want to cry on their shoulder, right? So it's like it sends mixed messages to people. So like Charlie wants to be that outlet because she struggled as well on this journey, with working with me. But it is working with me, I suppose. Being married to me, right? It's like a full-time job in itself. So do you know what I mean? So that's going to be great for the ladies. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for Charlie to like step into that as well because obviously it'll make her happier. So that's great. But yeah, so on this call, I wanted to talk about some key characteristics. I was thinking earlier about me. I'm always observing like you know who's doing what, who's doing what, who's succeeding, who's slowing down, who's speeding up, and how long periods of time people are doing certain things. And I'm always wondering like why that is. Do you know what I mean? I'm always asking like why is that? Why are some people consistently on fire? Why are other people like on fire for like a day or two? Why are some people on fire for like 3 months, but then all of a sudden, that drops off then? Why do people come in and go, come in and go, come in and go? Why do people quit altogether? I always ask these questions, right? Because obviously, what I want to do is I want to avoid the same traps that they fall into. I want to, those holes that they fall into. I want to walk down a different. You see how smart that is? Do you all see how smart that is? Like if I'm walking down a road and I'm literally seeing people fall down potholes, I'm gonna like choose a different road to walk down. A nice one that's been smoothed over, nice and smooth. Has anyone ever drove down a smooth road when it's just been tarmacked? And the car, you go from like, it's just the best feeling ever, right? That's what road I want to walk down. I don't want to walk down no potholes. I mean, sometimes in Devon, especially when it rains and you see a puddle, do not trust puddles in Devon. You don't know how deep it is. It could be 1 inch or 1 foot deep. You know what I mean? Like just so like that's not. But that's how most people like go about their life. They just they run down these paths. They follow. They've got this. Just think about it for 1 second. Like you've got a goal of maybe let's say creating financial freedom, right? And you've got this person over here who's a multi-millionaire, and you say to them, hey, listen, I'm just about to do this thing. Do you think it's a good idea? That person's going to say, yeah, it's a good idea, right? Let's say, for instance, you just got into network marketing, and you speak to a millionaire in network marketing. Hey, listen, just got into network marketing. Do you think it's a good idea? That's a great idea. Okay. You speak to maybe someone who's trading their time for money, struggling. Living they've had the same sort of life for the last 10 years. You ask them, hey, listen, just going to network marketing, do you think it's a good idea? They're going to say it's probably a bad idea, right? You now have to develop common sense and say, who am I going to listen to? You see how smart that is? The reason why I say that, guys, and it sounds pretty obvious, I see it all the time. People will start their journey. Like, yeah, that makes sense, my course, but Jake, what you think I'm stupid or something? Like, Jake, that's like, don't patronize me. Like, you must think I'm stupid. You say that on every single call. You must believe, yeah, that I'm gonna like take advice from like someone who's not winning, and then 2 weeks later, you see him like take advice from this person. It's crazy, right? And this is why you have to continue to study. Yeah, man. Listen, I've been chatting to Dave, and Dave, he had a point. Actually, Dave had a point, did he? He had a point. He had a point. Do you know what else he had as well? No results. Okay, so he might have a point, but Jesus. So I'm gonna see. Let's get onto it. Here's some of the key characteristics that I believe are key to being consistently aggressively achieving your goals and dreams. Consistently aggressively. The first one is this: choosing the right spouse. I see some people in and out, da 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 da, and in the back of their head, they're like, that they've got the wife or their husband at home saying, that's too much, man. What about me at home? You're always on these calls. Why are you going to another event? Can you afford that? Is it even making sense? When's the business going to start working? Is it really worth it? I love you the way that you are. We've got a good life. It's great. It's not all about money. And they start talking averageness to you. But the way that they disguise it is wrapped in on that they're saying, hey, listen, you know, I've got your best interests at heart here. You were happier when so you were happier when you were like, drinking every weekend. And so yeah, you're right. You were happy when we used to just talk about like, EastEnders and stuff, Coronation Street. We can't have those normal conversations anymore. It's always goals with you. Number one, choosing the right spouse. And if you chose the wrong spouse before getting into personal development, you have to put your foot down. And they either like it or they lump it. No, zero exceptions. Ze if that's the right word, zero negotiations. It's this is the journey we're on. Are you coming with me or are you staying on the bench? But what about the kids? Oh, what about the kids? Do you want to set an example to your children that you don't have enough courage to be happy? Because you do realize that if you stay in that relationship, you're not going to be happy, correct? I know I'm saying some things that people don't want me to say, but what happens is you'll stay in this relationship that's not making you happy because you're not growing into your full potential. And then that's the example you set on your children. So it may be very hard for a few years. But do you understand that all children go through a season of resentment, towards their parents? Do you want to understand that? So your child goes from, "You're my everything, you're my superhero, it's mommy, daddy, I love you so much." And then they grow and they're gonna see other kids and they're gonna be tempted, they're gonna go out and they're gonna you don't and then it's they know best. See, I know this because I'm prepared for it because I was that little shit. So I know best. Stupid, you know nothing. What are you talking about? I'm different to you guys, whatever. Whatever. And then what happens is though, because they're gonna go through that stage anyway. Okay. Anyway, because they're going to resent me forever. No, they're going to go through that stage anyway. What happens is when you get to a certain age, normally it's late 20s, starting to get into 30s, then it comes back around and they very, very appreciate all the decisions that you made when they were children. That is the life cycle of every human being. We love our parents, we hate our parents, we love our parents. So, choosing the right spouse. Next, they put their goals before their family until ultimate freedom is acquired. If you don't do this, here's the truth that, again, like I said, the members club is like my time I can really vent. Sometimes I feel sorry for the members, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, you guys really get it. If you don't put your family before your goals, sorry, if you don't put your goals before your family until freedom is acquired, guess what? You're not going to achieve freedom. It's not you might get lucky. It might work out. You might be the one to break the universal laws. You might be the one. Doesn't work that way. You see, God has to see that your goals mean everything to you. You have to put God first. God is your imagination. God is your imagination. So when you put your imagination slash goals slash vision first, now we're talking. Because then what happens is this: your family, once you achieve freedom, they love you for it. They're like, what? They'll say we don't need freedom. It's okay. We love you just the way you are, Dad. We love your big belly. We love your broke bank account. We love you. We love how you come home and do nothing all day and sit on the cat. We love all that, right? How you've always got crumbs on your t-shirt like a scruffy. We love all that, right? They'll say that, but what happens is this: they don't mean it, and when you actually give them freedom, oh wow, now you don't even. Here's the thing: you don't need them to say that they appreciate it. Then you just like, yeah, whatever, cool, it's cool, it is what it is. I know. I already know. Okay, so they put their families before their they put their goals before their family, um, until ultimate freedom is acquired. Otherwise, guess what? It's not going to be acquired. Okay, why? Because people that have freedom, they did what most people are not willing to do. But the crazy thing is this. Here's the paradox to that. Here's the paradox to that. What I just said. Everyone who hasn't got freedom looks at them like, "Wow, I want that." I was speaking to my coach today in the gym, and he really likes my mindset. Obviously, as you can imagine, and he's like, "Man, like, we're gonna you're gonna be, yeah, we're gonna get you in good shape." He said it's crazy. He said it's crazy how many people they say they want to be in good shape until the work gets presented to them, and they just they run away from it. They say they want to be in good shape, right? Does that make sense? So it's the same process. It's the same process. Um, Next one, they have common sense. They have common sense, and what this means mainly is they don't listen to losers. They can read a room. They know when to laugh. They know when to make jokes. They know when to unmute themselves. They know when to speak. They know when to shut up. They know when to be coachable. They know when to be the teacher. They have common sense, guys. They find people that have the results and just ask questions and then shut up. They don't guess. They don't guess. You know, I have people all the time, man, like, hey man, Jake, listen, I'm really ready. I'm really ready. Now, just tell me what to do. I'm like, hang on a minute. We had this conversation like 3 months ago. Like, did you take notes on what I said 3 months ago? Yeah, I did. Perfect. Let's run that play. Should we take action on plan A before we give you plan B? Like, can we just take action on the original plan that we had, please? Common sense. Why? Because now I've got Alex Morton's number. I'm not going to call him unless it's like super. Does that make sense? I'm not going to call him unless it's like unless I genuinely need him. I know what I need to do. Imagine me having a conversation with Alex, asking questions, and then not applying what he's telling me. No common sense. Why? I'm now putting that relationship at risk, and that relationship is the key to freedom. It's called leverage. Next, they compound their decisions, right? And they think before they act. What does that mean? They compound their decisions. What this means is this, and I never forget. There's a book called The Compound Effect by Darrin, and he talks about how successful people. Let's say, for instance, you meet you got a choice, right? Maybe you're on a diet and you know you get a bit of cravings. You got a choice. You go to the supermarket and you're looking at the shelf. This is just an example, and you got fruit here, right? And you got chocolate here, right? Most people, oh, this is just one decision. This is one. It's just one. Success people, they go, this is a decision, and if I make the easy choice will become a habit, and that habit is going to reproduce, and they literally see themselves fat. They compound the decision. If I make this choice today, it's going to be twice as easy to make it tomorrow. So you may think you just have it's one decision. No, you have to compound the decision mentally. So if you skip the Facebook Live today, that decision compounded means that you are a nobody. Nobody knows who you are. You're not getting your message out. If you don't talk to new people inside your business every single day, guess what happens? You compound that decision. Your bank account looks the same, probably worse, because you're not doing it. Makes sense. Every time you look at your spouse and you think a compliment, but you don't speak it, you think they look nice, but you don't tell them they look nice. That decision compounded means, there's going to be an argument at some point. You never appreciate me. You never give me compliments. You never make me feel special. That's why every single time I see an empty vase in our house, I fill it with flowers because I know that that decision compounds to my husband appreciates me. My husband, you know what the flowers represent genuinely. My husband thinks about me when I'm not there. That's why whenever I go out with my son, I went to meet my mom in Torquay, and we went to this little shop. And Dexter was like just playing, when you let a 2-year-old loose in a shop, he's just, just everything's his. Do you know what I mean? He just thinks everything's his. And like he pulled these bracelets off this thing, and one of them said "Mom," and it was a really cute bracelet. I was like, "Oh, we'll get that for Mummy." I gave it to Charlie. The bracelet cost like three 99, right? Charlie cried her eyes out. Charlie cried her eyes out. See, it's not just about like the amount of money you spend. It's about like it's about that. It's about thinking about things like that. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching my son, hey, listen, you want to always take care of the women in your life. You want to always take care of the women in your life, especially your mom. Okay, so they compound decisions and they think before they act. Is that a good one for everyone? Is that made sense to everyone? So I want you to think when you're faced with a choice, compound it. What's the end result going to be? I promise you, your discipline will go through the roof. It will. Your discipline will go through the roof. Next, they can take the pain of patience for extended periods of time. They can take the pain of patience for extended periods of time because what happens is this life goes and we get little tiny wins that keep us going. That win could be, in the gym, maybe, you see a muscle that wasn't there before, right? You look good in a certain t-shirt, right? You walk past the car mirror and you're like, is that me? Okay. Oh, jeez. Nice. Man, everyone's lucky today if they meet me. Man, I'm feeling good, right? It could be in the business. You have someone join your business. You get a new customer, right? That's a little tiny win, and that little tiny win keeps you on the track, doesn't it? Right? Keeps you on the track. Now, what winners do is they can take the pain of not getting any results at all for extended periods of time. Most people, they will really need that win because they haven't developed their imagination. They don't understand what their imagination is. They don't grasp it. Whereas me personally, I am way more interested in my imagination than what's taking place right now. Like I've got some really exciting things bubbling up in my organization right now inside my business. If it takes off the way that it potentially could be, it's going to be life changing. And I'm at the exact same point where I'm like, I'm taking it in my stride because I'm already successful in my mind. If I wasn't using my mind, I'd probably be self-sabotaging in real life. I'd be shocked, overwhelmed. Oh my God, this person's joining my business. Ah, what do you mean? I'm already successful. What are you talking about? Of course, they're joining my business. This is supposed to happen. So you play it out mentally many, many, many times. So when it comes to happen, real, you're like, yeah, this is yeah, perfect. You don't mess up. So seeing yourself successful is basically preparing yourself for success. That's what you're doing. You're preparing yourself. Your subconscious mind is so when it actually starts to manifest, which it actually does, guys. That's how it works. Once it starts to manifest, you've already experienced the same emotions. You've already experienced the same thing happening over and over again. It's like, well, because when, like, for example, when let's say, for instance, I get to a certain income in the business, it's like, well, Jay, that's amazing for you, yeah, for sure. But like, very dissatisfied. I'm very grateful, but I'm also very dissatisfied because of where I am mentally. Does that make sense? Because if your physical results are ahead of your imagination, you do realize that you'll self-sabotage. I've experienced this. I've experienced getting better results than my imagination. And I don't know what happened, but I found a way to self-sabotage. Like I literally look back at text messages going, did I send that? That is rude. You know what I mean? Like, no wonder she got pissed off. Like, I said that. That's crazy. That's mad, isn't it? No wonder she quit my business. Real self-sabotaging in real time. And the way to stop self-sabotaging, guys, is to slow down. Meaning, when you are faced with a situation, confrontation, whatever, a problem in your business, a problem at home, a problem, whatever, you can pause mentally and say, do you know what? How would this person respond to this situation? Does that make sense? Well, this person's already super successful, so would this little tiny issue bother them? No, no. So can you make them right instead of you needing to be right? Can you make them right just to make sure that the situation is nice and calm? And then visit the situation again later and have the conversation and come to a compromise. But right now, if you even try to come to a compromise, you know, it's not going to work out because they're driving towards you in a negative momentum state at 100 miles an hour. And when you try and stop something coming to you at 100 miles an hour, you're going to get flattened. Okay, it's not going to work out. So can we make them right, empathize, and then help them make see this process could take a day or two, even a couple of months. Once they're back on their and you're back, then you bring it back up and you come to a common ground and you're good to go, guys. What I've just shared with you, that is something which I believe can only be developed through really being, intentional on your growth. You know what I mean? Like that's because I'm teaching me right now. Like this call, I'm prepared for it. You know what I mean? I had a shower, had a coffee, had something to eat. I'm fresh. I'm good. But like day to day, it doesn't really happen like that. Sometimes life hits you unexpectedly. It's those moments that count. Like if you're like going to a meeting, you can prepare for the meeting, you can prepare about this person, you can prepare everything. But like if you just meet someone, just like spontaneously, it's who are you in the spontaneous moments? That's the real you. So you have to develop the ability to be spontaneously who you are. Yeah, how are you at your worst? It's the same when things like adversity reveals character. So when things aren't going well, how you respond to that or react, most people, that shows you who you really are. So with me, whenever I see an issue in someone's life or business, how they respond to it determines if I distance myself from that person or wow, I like how that person responded. I can still be around them. Like there's some people in my life that they've showed me through adversity who they really are, and now I'm like if it's just business, no more personal stuff now with that person. No more inviting you around my family, none of that, because I can't trust emotional people. I can't trust people that can't control themselves. Makes sense. So they see things they see the bigger picture in the smaller moments. They see the bigger picture in the smaller moments. All right, guys. So that's been today's call. I'd love to take some questions. We can start the recording now. That'll be fan.